Good morning, I'm Bridget Washington, chef and cookbook author. And today at the Research Kitchen at NC State University, we are making a hearty fall pasta salad. We're going to be using some button mushrooms as well as some red cabbage to create a satisfying meal that is perfect during the fall. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is that we are going to boil our pasta. Here I have some whole grain pasta. I already have some salted water boiling. And we are going to add this in there. And we're going to cook per package directions, which is about 8 to 10 minutes. And while that is cooking, we're going to get started on the two ingredients that really make this salad sing. So the first thing is that we have some white button mushrooms. When you're purchasing mushrooms, you really want to look for a mushroom that is heavy in relation to its size, that has no massive dents and bruises. The stems and the caps should be smooth, and it should be very, very uniform. The thing about it is that the mushroom stems are edible as well as the caps. Most people discard the stems. No need. For cleaning the mushroom, the rule of thumb is that if it's wild or foraged, you want to wash. But if it's cultivated, like most store-bought mushrooms are, you want to give them a wipe with a paper towel, just like this. And that is to just get rid of any of the extra dirt that it may have been grown in. So just going to give this a little wipe because, as you can see, they're already clean and beautiful. The stem and caps should also be closely adhered to. Occasionally you'll find one or two in which the stems are detached, and that's perfectly okay as well. And so, the reason why we are cooking with these mushrooms is that not only does it give good heft to the dish, but it is also very, very high in proteins and B12, and also it is one of the few plant sources with a good amount of vitamin D. It also improves gut health. So here for this recipe, we are just going to be quartering them just like that. Again, keeping the stems and the caps intact. And just a good rough chop. And mushrooms and pasta have always been a favorite pairing, and it is no different in this dish. And it really goes a long way in not just bulking up the dish, but giving it a nice, varied texture. Can't go wrong with a button mushroom. So now that all of these are chopped, we're going to get started on our cabbage. Cabbage. When you are purchasing a cabbage, and here we're using a red cabbage, you want to look for a large, dense, firm bulb. The leaves should be bright and very much closely adhered to the actual head of the cabbage. When you're also purchasing it and you want to squeeze it, give it a gentle squeeze, because if it is spongy or a little bit soft, that is an indicator that there's some rottenness inside the cabbage. So you just give it a good squeeze to make sure it's firm throughout. In addition, the colorful leaves are also a good indicator. And I just usually pull the first couple leaves off, and then we get started on chopping it. So how I like to, depending on the preparation, you could slice this bottom off, or that you could keep it. I tend to give it a quick chop off because it makes it easier to cook. And then we're going to cut it in half, and there you can see. This is exactly what you want to look for. All the leaves are tight, it's bright, the veins are bright white, the leaves are a deep purple hue. That's exactly what you want. And cabbage is a great source of fiber as well as vitamins A and C and K. This deep purple color is very high in plant-based antioxidants, which help to fight inflammation. And so we're just going to give this a good rough chop. And we're going to put it in our bowl. And as you're putting it in the bowl, it's fine to flake it apart with your fingers, just so you can get all of the leaves separated. And we are also going to do it with the next head. So just run your knife through it, getting all of it. I know some people don't very much care for the core of cabbage and some of the harder, heartier veins. However, because this is being cooked, it's really, it could go either way. You could cut through the veins or not. I don't mind it, so cut through we go. And there we have it. So that's our cabbage and our mushrooms, ready for our salad. So our pasta is completely cooked, and we're just going to reserve about a cup of pasta water because this starchy liquid is going to do double duty in binding together all of the ingredients in a way that makes it creamy but not overly dense. So now we're just going to drain this pasta, then we'll be right back. Okay, so now we are going to bring this salad together. The first thing we're going to do is that we are going to start with our base, which will be some garlic sauteed in olive oil. So here we have our olive oil. And then we're going to add our garlic. And you can't go wrong with any type of pasta dish that starts with olive oil and garlic. So you just saute that up. And to that, we are adding our button mushrooms that we just cut. And while it looks like these are taking up a lot of saute pan real estate, these button mushrooms will in fact reduce in size. That's what they do best. Oop, and escaped. Okay. And after the button mushrooms, in comes again our next star of this, which is our red cabbage. So in that goes as well. And at this point, what I like to do is add a little bit of this reserved pasta water just to help the mushrooms and especially the cabbage break down a little bit. So in that goes. Pasta escaped. So we're going to allow this to cook, just not fully because again, you could enjoy all of these raw, all of this produce raw. But we're just going to allow them to wilt down a little bit. And then we will combine it all together. But first we're going to season it. Here we're going to add some salt. It's a good pinch of salt. And some black pepper. And some red pepper flakes. About half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Red pepper flakes gives it punch, but not too much. So a good toss. We're going to let this not reduce, just going to let this saute just to get some of the snap out of that red cabbage. And then we'll combine everything. So our vegetables have wilted down, and now we're going to get everything to come together. So we're going to take this off the heat. If you have a saute pan that's big enough to fit the pasta into the cabbage and mushroom saute, you can do that, or you could put these vegetables into the pasta. There's not really a preferred order. So we're going to add all of this in. Taking care not to let any bit go to waste. And then we're going to toss this together. And it smells absolutely divine. The next thing we're going to do is that we are going to finish up with our round of seasoning, which means a cup of Parmesan cheese, some basil that we're just gonna hand tear. Basil gives it bite and sweetness and grassiness, and just a tiny bit of salt. And we're gonna stir to combine all of this. And look at it. It is the most colorful and beautiful pasta salad. And what I like about this is that you could serve this warm or not. Because when you refrigerate this, because definitely you'll have leftovers remain, it will be good cold as well. Just want to make sure you get everything coated with the Parmesan cheese and the basil, red pepper flakes, all of it should come together. And it is really one of those pastas that work well for any meal application, lunch or dinner. So now we're going to plate it. And you see, it's just a few colors, but boy, does not look good. And very healthy as well, and so full of fiber that will keep you full longer than you expect. So here we have our hearty pasta salad with button mushrooms, red cabbage, and whole wheat pasta. Simple, satisfying, very delicious, and easy to make.